everybody. It's Tea Time with Stace, back with another episode. I know we've been gone for a while. I hope you're doing well. And if you're not, as I always say, you're either having a good day or you're having a day. And, I'm hoping we have some goofs, some gaffs, some laughs, and, maybe you'll feel a little bit better. You may notice, I got a few folks here with me today. I'd love to introduce you, the folks from Sage's Stuff. To my left here, God, how do I describe you? Wonderful lady, business class. Oh God, she does not drive. She flies first class only. True business lady. But most of all, my bestie Foresti, Sage. How you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you doing, Stace?
Oh, lovely. Now that we're here, God, behind the scenes. Oh boy, you'd be
Oh
shocked
boy.
how hard it is to find a venue. I do have a little bit of a podcast studio. You folks at home have definitely seen it before in the past. But it's more of an intimate setting, very much a one-on-one type place. So we're up here. You may recognize where we're at, up here in the casino. We thought we'd get some fresh air. As we talk about a little thing I like to call the hot seat. Oh, cause God, do we have some drama today, and I don't even know if I want to call it drama. It's a lot worse than that. Sage, how about you talk a little bit about your business, Sage's Stuff, anything you would like to say, before we get started.
Yeah, of course. So, I kind of did want to introduce the two men sitting next to me. So,
Of course. Oh, who are these strangers?
Yeah,
I'm kidding.
I know, right? Next to me, I have Theo, and then next to Theo is his brother Mason Walker. They kind of started at the shop, helping me out, almost by force. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh God,
That's crazy.
Put a gun to their head.
I kind of reeled them in to slowly start helping me. With Sage's Stuff getting as big as it has gotten, and
Oh,
just
yeah,
the demand
staple.
of everything that we have coming through, helping out the whole city. I really just thought to myself, I can't do this alone. So actually, earlier today, we had a little business meeting.
A bit of tea.
Yeah, a bit of tea, and basically, I asked the boys if they would want to be co-owners with me of Sage's Stuff.
Get out of town.
Yep,
So you guys, you officially got stock in Sage's Stuff. Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh, we are cemented.
Oh God. Oh wow.
Yeah,
This
we
is
are here.
fantastic.
I call them
Yeah, man.
my two British boys, and after some recent unfortunate events, the last 24 hours, they've really just stepped it up and helped me in tremendous ways, more than I could ever ask for. So,
Oh God, yeah, and we'll definitely get into that because oh boy.
Absolutely.
Before
Absolutely.
we get into the hot seat, the bad stuff, let's talk about the good. How about that? Let's talk a little bit about your business because
Okay.
between you and me, folks, Sage and I, we've been pals for a long time. I mean, God. Nearly day one since I moved here to this damn city. Oh, God, such a weird story the way we met. You mind if I tell him?
No, go ahead, tell them.
Oh, well, you folks at home may notice, my usual partner, Tony Fibonacci, isn't here with me right now. He's still a friend of the show. It's don't worry, he ain't going nowhere. But the podcast life, it's not really his style. I feel like it's more dragging him down or anything. So, he's still a friend of the show. You'll see him around from time to time. So don't worry about that. Anywho, one day, when I moved in here with my pal Tony, we were gonna do a bit of a prank calling. So we're looking on the purple pages. I know, real weird, I know, but yeah, we're looking on the purple pages, and what do we see? Some lady, some weird lady named Sage, selling furniture, and so we give her a call, and first, a little bit of a prank call, but then it blossomed into a friendship, strangely enough, and I mean, God, the rest is history. I could talk to you folks about our friendship for hours. I promise you that.
Yeah, it seems like a lifetime, right?
God, it really has. You're really my OG. Day one of one. As they say. But, that's really how we met. But God, let's talk a little bit more about your business. Along with being your day one friend. I mean, God, I was really there almost day one for your business. I saw you put down the
Absolutely.
first brick for that damn thing.
Absolutely, you did.
If you want to talk a little bit about it, I know, right down you're down by the piers, isn't that correct?
Yeah, I'm on the Del Piero Pier. Before you would get to the end of the pier where you'd see a big hooky sign. So basically, I think to kind of sum it up is I started this as a very off the whim, one shot yard sale outside of the courthouse.
Oh boy,
I'd
yeah,
be-
talk about that, God.
Yeah, I'd be in the middle of that little intersection across from the courthouse. I had a dream to be a carpenter, and I had like excessive stuff to get rid of. Um, I said one day, I said, you know what, like I'm gonna throw this out there, and I'm gonna see if like I can get rid of some of it. I'm gonna help the community out, and
Right.
um, since day one, like people just kind of expected me to be there, and so I was there for quite some time. I had a great time, and then unfortunately, law enforcement, Officer Ham, shut me
Blech!
down. Yeah, exactly. Gross. And I was forced to not set up shop unless I had owned a property of sorts where I could set up the stuff on. I
Right.
was shut down for about 2 or 3 months because unfortunately at the time there were no property permits being permitted. I
Oh
went day and
God,
night
yeah.
going to the courthouse, literally laying on the courthouse floor waiting for a member of the DOJ to come
Yeah.
around, which didn't ever happen. I met some great people there who would like keep an eye out for when I could talk to somebody. After a few weeks, I was actually able to finally run into somebody after hours of literally laying on the floor, hoping till just someone could like step on me at that point and give me some direction and like what I could do.
Right.
um,
God, wait, you had some like
um,
flies in the wall in there, like looking for you to find people to talk to?
Yes, I had like court clerks like that knew me from selling stuff across the street that would
Right.
text me and say like this judge is going into a meeting, like he should be done in 30 minutes, and like I don't know if there was
Oh
like a
boy.
back door, but like I would never see them come out of that office. And so like when I say the dedication I put into it, it was dedication. Finally, you know, there were some appraisals going around. um I ran to the courthouse as fast as I could. I was actually the first appraisal
Oh God, yeah, I
of,
remember that day.
yeah, of getting a business appraisal. I showed them a few of my spots that I was pretty excited about. Um, Actually, Cassian Rose was the judge, the magistrate that actually helped me, and he was wonderful. And he really helped me find this really great spot. And unfortunately, that kind of fell through. And then he actually went out on his own and looked for a spot for me at the pier. When he called me, he said he like went and looked for like 40 minutes to an hour for me, right?
Right.
I was like, wow, you didn't have to do that. And he found this really cool spot where Sage's stuff is now. When he first showed it to you, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, because my number one is I wanted to have a roof over my head,
Right. I do
so I
remember that.
wasn't
Yeah.
kind of standing in the rain, things like that. And this was a very open spot, no roof, no lights, nothing. It was literally just a plot of land on a dock. I said, okay, well, you know what? Like, if I can make a yard work in the middle of a busy highway where
In the
criminals
middle
like
of
to
a
run their
parking
cars
lot.
there,
Yeah.
yeah, I can make this spot on the pier like Sage's stuff like happen.
And let me tell
So
you, you definitely did, by the way. I mean, personally, Sage,
yeah,
between you and me, I can't imagine this pier without your store no more. I mean, before it was there, I mean, it was just an empty spot. Nothing there,
yeah,
nothing
of
going on.
course.
It's a bit, in my opinion, a bit of an eyesore. But I guess that's and
Absolutely.
to be honest with you, even further, that's most people's opinions. But anyways, continue. Just wanted to say that, it's really a lovely spot.
No, of course, and I kind of built it from the ground up. You were there.
Oh, I remember, yeah.
Unfortunately, the health department didn't love the walls I had originally had. So, I unfortunately, after putting everything up and all the hard work and dedication we put into the shop, I had to tear it all down. Wasted a lot of materials. It was quite tragic. And then we had to put our brains together, all of us. I mean, you were there.
Yeah,
To
oh,
help
no,
me
I
through
remember.
that.
Like I said, I was putting down bricks. I remember.
And we finally figured out like a look that we could go with that gave it more of a beachy vibe to kind of fit the pier a little bit better. We spent days constructing that building, which has been Sage's stuff for the last couple of months.
Right.
It's been a fabulous building. It's allowed me to create my product and really set it out for the customers and the people of Los Santos to kind of like, see it and be there and really kind of know what they're getting for their place or their business or whatever they have going on, right?
Right.
It's really allowed them to come and kind of talk, but it also provided a spot for people to kind of hang out as well.
I'm one of
Where
them. I'm one of them,
yeah, yeah, and I feel like they felt very welcome to be there, if that makes sense. And
I
I will
second
have.
that.
Oh, yeah,
Thank
you're
you.
great at that.
Same.
Yeah.
And I think people kind of like just not even buy furniture, just stop by to say hi, to see how I'm doing. It's really allowed me to meet so many people in the city and kind of make those connections through so many different avenues
Right.
of walks of life, right? And I've been so thankful for that. My business, which was what once just ran by myself,
A
where I
little
used to get all
table in the
my
middle of a parking lot, you know?
exactly. I used to get all my own materials, process all my own materials. Like it would take me like it was just me. I've gotten so big because of like the outstanding like word of mouth from all the people buying from me and their experience at Stages stuff that really like people just show up now and expect me to be there. I mean, you can
Me
ask the boys.
included, you know, me included.
Exactly. Yes. And you can ask the
I
boys,
don't
even
bother
you,
calling you
Stace.
half the time. I just show up, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And you can really ask the boys, and even you, Stace. It's like when we're out, it's like my phone is nonstop going off. Like, I need a crate. I need
Busy
this.
girl.
Can you come here? Yeah. And so, like, I try my best to drop what I'm doing so that I can just really help the people of Los Santos because I know that there really isn't something as quite as unique as Sage's stuff that's really out there right now.
Oh, 100% could not agree with you more. And I know you're a bit humble, you know, you don't like to talk about brass tacks, but, you know, allow me to do that for you. You know, God, you know, this girl's damn near running a non-for-profit. I mean, her prices, phenomenal. I mean, you're not going to see that anywhere. I mean, and she'll build you whatever you need, you know, you name it, she's got it. You know, and I just don't think there's really anywhere not like that in this city. I mean, not that I could think of. You know, I really, you know, I've been sitting around in bed, you know, thinking about it lately. You know, what else is there, you know, comparable to Sage's stuff? And, you know, not to be rude to any folks here in the city, but, you know, God, there really isn't anything like it, you know, and I really do think you got something unique, Sage, and, you know, that's why I kind of wanted to, you know, have you here on the show. But, you know,
Absolutely.
Unfortunately, you know, we got a bit of bad news, and, you know, between you and me, folks, that's kind of, you know, I planned this whole 2.0 episode for the podcast, you know, a new era of Tea Time with Stace, and don't get me wrong,
Absolutely.
folks, that is still very much a thing, but God, after what happened last night, it lit a fire under my ass, and we had to get to recording immediately. Would you like to maybe give me, would you like me to give a little bit of intro, what's going on, or maybe
Yeah,
straight from you?
absolutely.
How would you feel about that?
Go ahead.
Well,
Tell what's happening. Give
let
me
us set the scene then, I guess. You know, here we are, you know, last night, enjoying our time, you know, here at Sage's stuff, as many folks do, as Sage
helping
has
a
once
customer
said.
actually mid-customer
Right.
at a delivery.
Yep, in the middle of a, you know, customer interaction, you know, great people that show up here at the store, and, you know, who shows up? These goddamn health inspectors. And listen, I get it, you know, they're doing their job. You know, they want to keep a healthy environment for people. You know, God forbid, you know, people get sick, you know, rats, you know, any of that sort of thing. You know, trying to keep the city safe. You know, I'm not going to blame the health department or nothing. You know, but they show up and they're like, hey, you know, Sage, we got to talk to you ASAP. You know, unfortunately, I wasn't there for that conversation. You know, maybe you can, you know, fill them in a little bit. You know, they wanted a bit of a
of course.
private convo.
Yeah. So, we got back. We rushed there as soon as possible. This was, by the way, about a week and a half after I got an A rating from the health department.
Right.
That visited the shop when one of my other workers, Owen, was working there. I was with you and actually Owen. He wasn't willing to talk in front of you guys. So he pulled me to the side, kind of said, the governor hates your shop. He was very blunt. He said that it was an eyesore, one of the worst things he's ever seen, and that it needed, quote unquote, from what I was told by people that overheard him talking in the hospital.
In the hospital?
That came to warn me, yeah, that they needed to clean up the beach and that my business was a sight for sore eyes.
Yeah, how about you clean up your ass because you stink? I'm sorry, I'm heated up.
And after some conversation, he said that he actually basically had to plead for me to have about a week's time to get it to change where the governor would be happy. To the point where I guess the governor wanted to just cease my property that I paid for, I own.
Right,
that
you
I put
put
all my
money,
hard work and time.
hundreds of hours, by the way. I mean, I've been with this gal, you know, like I said, from day one, the first brick laid down, you know, I was there to witness it. And, you know, may we also add, you know, this isn't the first time that this has happened. You know, it's not like they're giving you any guidelines or anything. They're saying, it's ugly, change it.
Yeah, exactly. I think the first time when I ran into the issue, they didn't the health department didn't love my black walls, right? Which I get it. I was just working with what I had, so I could open up shop as quickly as possible. Because at the time, I was unfortunately forced to close shop and my source of income for months, right?
Yeah.
Without kind of any time to plan. And then my business had been open for so long. I've had many DOJ members come, police, I've had so many people come and stop by Sage's stuff. The health department, the week and a half prior, they gave me an A rating on my business and the safety and the condition of the shop.
Right, yeah.
Nothing was ever brought to my attention about it ever being an issue. I guess the governor had other thoughts. Even the health inspector that was telling me all these terrible things that the governor had said about my shop, he said, like, I have seen much worse, and I didn't really think that this shop was a problem. I went to him and I said, he said, I'm here to help you in any way possible. And I said, okay, well, so then what's your solution? Because to me, I thought my shop looked great. I've gotten nothing but compliments from my shop.
Oh, and let me be very clear. It is the same way in my position. I talk about your store all the time. It's almost like free advertising in a way. That's because you're my girly pop. And all I ever hear are good things. I mean, God, the people want to talk about, tea time with Stace. Oh, you're a celebrity. I mean, God says you're the real celebrity. I mean, anytime I talk about you, everybody knows you. You want to know why? Because they enjoy your business. They love shopping with you, and they like you as a person. So, I think the only ugly person in this story is our own governor, aka dictator. Anyways, continue.
Exactly. Once I kind of got out of him, like, I said, like, what can I do? Like, because, like, I thought my shop looked wonderful, right? It was everything I needed. And honestly, I'm working with what I could make, right? I don't complain. I haven't, like, went to City Hall and protested. I haven't done any of that. They said basically I would have to demolish my second floor, which, as you know, and the guy sitting next to me stored all of my stuff, my machines to make the supplies that I need to build the furniture.
Oh yeah.
All of my stock that I can't put on the floor just due to lack of space. It really was what kept the bottom of Stage's stuff running. I had made sure I was very intentional with the building of it so that
the upstairs is where you do your work. It's not bothering customers and the people at the bottom. Which, by the way, Sage, I don't mean to cut you off, but oh God, sometimes I think of this shit and I get pissed off.
No, go ahead.
This motherfucker said, "Oh, the bottom. Oh God, it looks so messy. You ever heard of a showroom floor, asshole? They're shopping for furniture. What do you think it's supposed to look like? It's furniture everywhere. You ever been to a furniture store? So they go look to go buy." Exactly. Continue, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. And so, I said, like, what would be your solution to losing the entire upstairs where all my machines are? And to be quite frank, like, my business has grown so massively that, like, I have more than one of each machine that you need to process the materials for said purchases. And so he said, you're going to have to, like, take away, like, half of your floor space to make it down here, but it also still needs to look presentable. And so I said, how the heck am I supposed to do that? Like, I don't have space as it is. Like, my space was limited already downstairs with, just the perimeters I had to work in. And he said, well, the second floor is a definite no. And he said basically that he's going to come by every day for the next week, take some photos.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure he's going to come by. Yeah, I'm sure it's going to be him. No, I mean, he's going to send one of his lackeys, his health department, as he likes to call it, to come do it for him, because he's got no cojones.
I mean, exactly. I'm just going to throw out there, the health department didn't they rate you? They rated Sage's stuff with an A rating, so.
Yeah, what the hell's an A rating mean? You know what I mean? What is it even? What are the guidelines?
No, exactly. And so, like, at the end of the week, if it's not changed or fixed, or, like, say he still doesn't like it, there is still a chance that I would lose Sage's stuff completely. And or they did discuss very briefly about relocating. That really upset me, I think, that part. Because
oh, for sure.
I went through the process, right? I paid the $10,000 to have something surveyed.
Right. I mean, you did everything you're supposed to do. Not to cut you off, but God, sometimes I get so damn fired up. You know how I am, Sage. I mean, there's plenty of people around this city. God, they're just doing over that whatever the hell they want. They pick a spot and, oh, this is my store. I mean, you did it the right way. You got a permit. You put down the brick and mortar. You did everything you were supposed to do, and they still burn your ass.
And I think what is kind of throwing me off is like the fact of like them saying like he still might not like it enough to like take away my business, and maybe that was incorrect information. I don't know.
Uh-huh.
But the problem is that one, I don't know how you could just take something like that from somebody,
Right.
especially because they wanted to take it without even like a hey,
warning.
this
Yeah.
needs to happen. And maybe he was upset. I don't know. But like according to him, like according to this member of the health department, like he would try to go to the DOJ to just get it completely seized. And like
right.
It
and
wasn't
let's
like
focus on that for a moment.
Yeah, and there was no conversation. Like it wasn't like I knew about this and I was ignoring it. Like this was just out of nowhere, thin air kind
a
of
snap
thing.
of a finger.
And so that's what kind of really upset me. And then I went through the process because when you apply for like a residency permit for like a store, right? It has to get surveyed by the DOJ, and then it goes through the health department board, and they either give you like a hey, this would be a good spot, or maybe no, it won't be. Like for whatever reason, you know, they know their plans and like events and stuff that they have going on.
Right.
It was approved. It was approved knowing exactly the intent of the store.
Right.
So I think that I was a little taken back by
understandably
why they didn't like the concept of the store essentially being there when that was the intent the entire time. So I think I was very thrown off, and the thing is like I was forced to move from the middle of the lawn, which okay, fine, understandable. It was very hard getting the customers to realize where I was, right? I think I've become like a cultural part of like the pier.
You're
where
damn right.
Sage's stuff is just, and not to toot my own horn, it's sort of like iconic for the pier. It's really giving people a purpose to be there.
It is the pier. It is the pier.
And like, you know, the restaurants have come and gone. A lot of things have come
and
gone
you
on
know,
that pier.
Oh yeah, you know that sushi joint that's been close to opening for 3 months. Whatever happened to that? You know, oh, we're opening soon. You know, 3 months later. Oh boy.
Exactly, and like, the thing is like, you know, I posted about like I made a post on Life Invader about like just if people want to come buy stuff, I'd give them like a nice discount, because like I was moving so much stuff yesterday. I was up so late, just really trying to get this reconciled as quickly as possible.
We all were, yeah.
Yeah, you were there, I was there, Owen was there, and this morning the guys here, we've been at it since 9 a.m. Just cracking away into the wee hours.
By the way, Theo Mason, thank you so much for helping Girly pop out.
Anytime. My pleasure.
Yeah. And so like, you know, we've been working very hard, to the point where I don't know what else we could possibly do to make it look any better with what we have. And I do have to contact him, but you know, during this time, you know, I made that post, and then you kind of made your own post. I've had so many people in that hour that we posted either like and comment both of ours, come to the shop, call me. Even
just
today,
come out to support.
People are just like flooding my phone, the shop, like with like what is going on. Like people are like enraged that this could even be a possibility. Like they said, what is the pier without Stage's stuff? And that's the thing is like, I first and foremost started this business to help people achieve their goals and dreams, which was making stuff affordable, not overpriced. I literally sell things at cost, or I lose a profit.
Yep.
I do that so that people, if they want to open a restaurant, or if they want to have a party or host an event or do a wedding, like they can afford it, and it's not going to cost them an arm and a leg. I didn't do this to make hundreds of millions of dollars. If I make money from a sale, great. If I don't, like, I'm just happy to be there. Like I said, I've met some
it's like
great
damn
people.
near a non-for-profit. You know, you're really putting in the legwork.
I've met some great people, including these guys right here. That's how I met them, is through Sage's stuff. That's how I met you, through my ad on Sage's stuff. I mean, I've met literally so many close friends and partners, and now we're both in partnerships, and just through my shop, and I've connected with so many people. Just today, like I was doing a contract with the SASP.
Ain't that ironic?
And so like, I literally work with everybody in the city. I mean, every walk of life, and as much as I'd say it would still be possible without Sage's stuff, I I think that the people of Los Santos would be deeply hurt by that iconic spot just being gone
just
from the
vanishing.
pier. And I say that even if it was a relocation, I don't think that it would be the same.
It's a cultural thing, Sage, you know? And if you don't mind me saying, you know, let's rewind, you know, go back to one point here. Let's talk about the timing and how this was presented to you to make these changes. Now, from what we understand from the health inspector, you know, this guy had to fight for you to not immediately have your store removed. Is that correct?
Yes, that is what he told me.
It was supposed to be, I mean, God, he had to fight for damn near 24 hours. Eventually had to fight this damn guy to do a week. And let me be very clear about something. You know, Sage, you said, you know, it just doesn't make any sense to you. And, you know, to answer that question for you, it's because it doesn't make sense. The reality is this isn't a government issue. This isn't an issue of, harming others. This is truly a dictator. I'm going to be very clear about that. A dictator in Los Santos being petty, going on a power trip and deciding, you know what? I don't like that. Get rid of it. Not even including the hundreds of hours it took to get to where she's at and how much it means to the people of this city.
And honestly, just how much it means to me. Funny enough is I actually met him for the first time like a couple weeks ago. We ran into him on the side of Sandy. And I went up to him and I said, you know, like, I would love to help you, like, with any kind of gathering, whatever you guys have going on. Like, I would love for you guys to call me so that I could assist you, you know. And he was like, absolutely, I sure will. Or I'll just stop by the pier and I'll get a hold of you that way. Well, I hate to say that was probably the biggest mistake that I ever made, if I'm being honest. And unfortunately, I do want to talk about that a little bit. So,
oh, please do.
Unfortunately, as you know, Stace, because I went with you, felons can't vote. At the time, I was a quote-unquote convicted felon for having my partner's gun in my glove box because we were moving from the hotel to the apartment complexes.
Right, a complete mistake. You know, and I would be very clear to you folks because I know she's humble. I want to say she is not like that. You know, she's a great lady. You know, a true businesswoman. I mean, through and through. You know, creating relationships and opening business for everyone here in the Los Santos area. You know, she's no criminal. I want to be very clear about that.
Absolutely, and you know the thing is that they asked me if they could search my car because they pulled me over. Me knowing that I had nothing in there, I said absolutely, which I don't know why you'd really stop me and search my car for speeding with no record, but that's what the SASP did.
Yeah, gag me with a spoon.
Yeah, they obviously found the gun, which I had no clue was even in there because we were moving back and forth. So like it probably just got put in there for the sake of it.
Right.
And at the time we had lived together, which you could see like who resides in the residency. And they told me like if you call him and he wakes up, we won't charge you with this. And unfortunately I knew he was sleeping. You know, I left the apartment with him asleep in the bed. Yeah, it's just like I watched him fall asleep and really they just made me call him 3 times actually. And I said, okay. And they said, well, you're gonna have to go to jail. So this unfortunately stopped not only me, but so many other people in the city from voting. From what I was originally told by the cops, it was violent felonies, which then the day of the polls got changed to even a person with a felony, which was news to everybody.
I wonder why.
And yeah, well, exactly. And the thing is that like, I think Annabelle was a very close second place runner-up.
Oh,
and I think that if non-violent felons, and I'm not saying that everyone shouldn't get the vote, but I mean, I think if we want to broaden the spectrum of, you know, the people of the voices of this city,
right?
I think someone with a felony, especially for something as silly as
non-violent.
Yeah, I don't see the harm of their voices also being heard. So unfortunately, the voices that were heard were a lot of law officers, a lot of DOJ, a lot of people that were very pro one side versus the other. As where I feel like Annabelle was kind of, you know, not necessarily anti anything, but she was kind of that nice middle ground for people.
She's the voice of the people, you know. She cared. She truly did care about us people here, and not just about the cops and the lawmakers. You know, she cared about the people, people like you and me.
Absolutely, and I think that was what was so important to me. Even before I really knew who Bones was, right? Like before I even knew like his whole campaign. It's actually funny because right before he ran for campaign, I was at the clothing store on Holwick. And I came out to my car and he was around my car in a wheelchair.
Okay.
And he was begging me for food. I didn't have any on me at the time. So he took a drink and threw it at my face and then left.
What the hell?
This is our governor. This is our current governor, yeah.
What are you, how immature? Were you trying to make yourself a little video? Oh, let's do an experiment. Yeah. Who's gonna give food to, come on, I'm an entertainer and even I'm not that stupid.
Well, exactly. And so he literally threw a drink at me and then sped off in his wheelchair, like a bat out of hell. And that was the first time I ever met him. Didn't know who he was at the time, had never met him. Unfortunately, I know him now to be our governor. But I would like to say that I think that I would have loved to have heard this come from him. I think that if there was such a big problem with Stage's stuff all of a sudden, that he should have been the person to come down and tell me truly like how I could fix this and what I could do to make it better, so that I could not just guess that one thing is what you don't want. And we got rid of that said thing, which was unfortunately the second story of my business.
Yeah.
But like, now is this good enough? Is this unacceptable still?
We're gonna keep having to rebuild over and over, you know? And I'll answer your question, Sage. It's because he's a coward. That's what cowards do. When, you know, a true man's man, you know, they come up and they tell you to your face what's needed and they work it through with you. But him, he sends his lackeys. You know, no offense to the health department. You know, like I said, you're needed.
Yeah, and like, I could tell by the guy, and honestly, I forget his name. I was so mad. Like, I can't even remember what his name is. You could tell he was a little uncomfortable. Like, he literally said, I've seen much worse and I didn't really see this as an issue, but unfortunately the governor thinks your shop's an eyesore and it needs to be fixed. And
yeah, has he looked in the mirror, by the way?
I know. And then after he said, like, you know, get all your stuff from the second floor, da-da-da-da. And he says, and also he was like, you know, if you do that and you make sure your showroom's immaculate and it doesn't look the way it does now, he goes, I'm sure that you'll be fine.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure we'll hear from him in a week.
I've never been more flabbergasted in my life. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about where we are now.
Hours.
Yeah, let's talk about where we are today. You know, how we doing? How we feeling?
Yeah. So I've had a tremendous amount of response to the news. People that want to help me, people that want to do XYZ, to see what they can do to help me be successful and fight through this. And we have some angry people out there, a lot of angry people out there that are willing to riot if Sage's stuff leaves the pier. And I can't say that I wouldn't be right there with them. But in the 24 hours, it's actually been less than 24 hours, if I'm being honest.
True.
Since we've got the news, we have completely knocked down the second floor. We have had to move thousands of items, heavy items,
and that's the truth. Thousands.
Yeah, all the way from upstairs, downstairs. And listen, we're a small team, so like, listen, I just got little legs. I ain't trying to carry all this stuff up and down the stairs.
I mean, God, look at me. I was even carrying boxes.
I know, and you don't even like manual labor.
Oh God, no.
And so I think like through and as we speak, I'm getting messages like, hey, I need this, are you closing, I need this. And like, I've gotten so many phone calls just sitting here and texting like, are you at the shop? And
a busy lady, you know, people need you.
People just expect me there. And I think in the 24 hours we have completely turned the shop around. It looks like a totally different shop. I think that there is no other way that it could look any better, honestly. And honestly, and I mean this, Stace, it really wasn't me that did this. It was the guy sitting next to me, Theo and Mason. They have nonstop today helped me. I'm talking like sorting through the crates because like we were mass moving stuff yesterday. I mean, like we were just throwing stuff in places that we could. And
nightmare fuel.
Right.
Yeah. And it has been awful. And I've had I've had Mason, who has helped me literally redesign the entire floor plan of Sage's stuff. And when I was just so overwhelmed and like sad, like he just really stepped in and helped me kind of make that vision come to life. And like when I didn't have an answer, like he was like, you know what, like give me a second, because like obviously this is so overwhelming. And then I had Theo going through every single piece of furniture and knickknack and paperwork that I had,
right,
and sorting it so that we can open back up again and we can like be productive. And when I say that's been hours today, it's been hours, and I couldn't have done it without them, because needless to say, I was in a very rough state this morning, just like very distraught over losing Sage's stuff.
and understandably so.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And I will say that I hope everyone can come and check out Sage's stuff and they can see it, and hopefully it's there for many more months and years to come. Because without Sage's stuff, I would hate to see that even be a possibility.
Right, and with that being said, folks, more than ever, Sage's stuff needs your support, and there's many, many ways you can do that. First of all, go on down. You need some furniture, go on down and find something, find something nice for you. Let me tell you, there's quite a bit of selection. And two, make some noise out on socials. Let these people know, Absolutely. And this goddamn dictator know that this is a part of the culture of this city. Absolutely. And you don't fight this culture. It fights you, pal.
Absolutely. And I think also, Stace, Sage's stuff is also an opportunity for more employment. I've employed...
That's true.
I have about 6-7 employees. I also outsource all my materials. So I give a lot of people who like to do other things around the city thousands and 30s of thousands of dollars.
Yep.
To them, to help them. I've worked with local mechanic shops who give me, their suppliers that come to me because I help them, with their storage necessities. I mean, you name it, I've done the collaboration. So, not only is it just a business to help other people, I feel like I've also supplied those opportunities for people to have like a job and a purpose for the things that they love to do as well.
Well, Sage, I really hope, this turns out well for you. Folks, we are going to continue to keep you updated on this situation. Sage, I really do appreciate you, coming on and talking about this. And I know, girly pop, I'm not going to pretend like, we ain't besties, but, we've been talking about this nonstop. Any closing, statements you'd like to say before we wrap up the show?
I would like to thank, honestly, just everybody that has come and given me support, not just in this circumstance, but I think from the start to the finish, the people that have supported me from day one, and the new people that I've met and the connections that I've made, I honestly could never have imagined Sage's stuff blowing up as big as it has. And it's like overwhelming in the best way possible, with the number of people that come to me for things and I can help. And so I just want to thank everybody, honestly, for giving me my purpose. And honestly, I again, like, I can't thank the three of you enough for your guys' support and love, and that they're sitting on the couch right now, and that wouldn't be possible. And and I also have some other workers that have really helped me, which is Owen and Davey. They've been tremendous help for me as well, and I couldn't appreciate them more. So without them, my team wouldn't be possible.
Well, Sage, I don't think I just speak for myself and for the people here on this couch. I'm pretty sure I speak for the whole city when we should be saying thank you. You've provided such a service to the city of Los Santos, and I hope you can continue to do the same thing. All right, folks, that is all we got for the rest of this day and for the rest of this podcast. But before we go away, I got one message for our dictator, Bones. And yes, that is right, dictator. Because that is what I'll be calling you henceforth. I hope you know one thing. I've seen you do a whole lot of shitty stuff in this city. But this one was personal. And I hope you know you lit a fire under my ass. I'm going to ensure that you lose this position. You are not getting reelected, you mark my words. I will make every day of your life live in hell until that day. This is not the last time you heard of me. Because you know what? I might be a little frail. I may be a little pale, and I may not be the strongest man in this city. But if there's one thing I can do, it's the weapon of yapping. Certified yapper. Matter of fact. Good luck, pal, because you're going to need it.